Hello everyone and welcome to Retro Rewind, where we talk about classic video games and see where they've been and where they are today. My name's Cameron Button, and today we'll be talking about Dark Souls. Now I can hear you now, but Cameron, the first Dark Souls was made in 2011. How can you call that retro? Wrong. Dark Souls is just the honed-in talent of a long journey. From Software has had a long journey designing the sadistic game we know and love today. Originally, back in 1981, they were just an office application company, but in 1994, they wanted to break into the gaming world and developed a game called King's Field. In this game, the player had to use their melee weapon to slay all sorts of nasty beasts. Combat was hard and exploration was a huge reward, but with great risk. Sound familiar? Well, as we move on with From Software's climb to success, they developed 3 more installments to the King's Field game, each one having ties to the Dark Souls game, like the Moonlight Sword that appears in King's Field, Dark Souls 1 and 2, and Bloodborne. Additionally, King's Field 2 had a white dragon boss named Seath, who is also a key character in the Dark Souls game, and a boss. Even the ends have a familiar feel. In Dark Souls, you light the fire, but will eventually die out again and restart the world, causing someone else to have to go and relight it. And in King's Field, you seal the door to the Dark World, but you get a text prompt telling you that one day someone will come along and unseal it, repeating the cycle again. As From Software creates more and more games, we can start to feel Dark Souls develop. Games like Shadow Tower, made in 1998, added a stamina bar and equipment weight, making the player think about what to do and what to bring. In Shadow Tower Abyss, we find a dark and dreary, almost dead world, similar to the world of Hollows and Undead in the Souls games. Additionally, in Shadow Tower Abyss, the player also gets to dual-wield weapons, one hand having a melee weapon and the other holding a gun, a lot like Bloodborne. Then we get to the big game that started it all, Demon's Souls in 2009, a game where the player must collect the souls of great demons and free a town of a mysterious curse. Sounds easy enough, until the player discovered how incredibly difficult it was. It had unforgivable fights, deadly traps, and so many more things that made this game unique and had fuel for the rest of the game franchise. Demon's Souls wanted to stay as close to the roots as possible, keeping a fantasy feel to it, like having skeletons fall apart when you hit them, demons fearing holy weapons, and dragons breathing fire. Then in 2011, we get Dark Souls, a game where the player plays as an undead set out to lift the curse of undeath and free yourself from the land. The task is simple: ring 2 bells. Again, sounds easy enough, but you have no idea where to look for these bells. All you are given is that one is up and one is down. You have an entire world to explore and try to find these 2 bells. The game upped the difficulty from Demon's Souls, adding spellcasting, new weapons, elemental attacks, and a few other things, making the player think about every move they were about to make. The game had a system to punish careless players, losing souls. If a player were to die, they drop all the souls they have on them, souls being the currency of the game and the way to level up. The player could go back and get their souls, but if they died along the way, the souls were gone forever. This caused players to have a much more cautious way of going to get their souls back. The game became a huge hit, capturing the attention of millions from around the world, and in 2014, we get a new and improved Dark Souls game, Dark Souls 2. This game is personally my favorite out of the entire Soulsborne game series, for several reasons. This game is all one whole world. There is actually a way to go the entire game without ever seeing a loading screen. The only trick is not dying, then that is almost impossible. This game kept most of the same features as Dark Souls, only improving on graphics, combat, adding new weapons and armor, and a few other things. There's actually a secret in the game that if you don't die, you get a ring that turns your weapon invisible. And this may seem insignificant, but when battling other players, it makes a huge difference. Also, if the player doesn't use a bonfire, they get a ring that prevents them from losing souls on death, another big thing in the game. Then we come to the spin-off, in Bloodborne 2015. In this Victorian-esque world, we are a hunter set out to defeat Lovecraftian creatures and free the world of this nightmare. This game has an amazing resemblance to the Dark Souls games, except for one thing: it's much faster paced. In Dark Souls, you could keep your shield up and memorize the opponent's moves and find openings, but in Bloodborne, you had to act quick or lose a lot of health. This game had no shields and rewarded aggressive players, and punished those slow on the draw. With this game, the player was always equipped with a gun and a melee weapon, the gun to stun them and the melee weapon to finish the job. This was another widely accepted game, praised for its amazing story, great combat, and insane difficulty. Now we get to today with Dark Souls 3. the final installment to the Dark Souls series. We come back to the world as an undead and must make our way through the game. This is the pinnacle of what From Software has been building up to. In this game, players who have played either Bloodborne or any of the Souls games can take their experience and bring it to this one. Being a slow, methodical player or a fast, aggressive one, there's always a class for them. This game has brought so much to the table, with puzzles that force you to think about the entire world, characters that if you betray them will become an incredible enemy, and so many unique weapons that will make anyone's jaw drop. The thing that made the Soulsborne series so memorable is because of how the players went about exploring. I can walk the entire map of Dark Souls 2 from beginning to end blindfolded, given that I'm not attacked. And that's because of how I had to search every inch of the world, watch every corner, and go slow to make sure I wasn't attacked. I always had my shield up, prepared for anything, and if I died, I did it again. And again. And again. Because of how many times a player will die and try again, they get in the habit of the area and start to accidentally memorize the entire area. The difficulty is something to overcome, of course, but the immense satisfaction you feel once you get past a hard boss or a difficult area, it's really hard to compare to. Honestly, to all the gamers out there that enjoy adventure games where the player can literally go anywhere and discover things on their own, have a great challenge, amazing character customization, and a memorable fight between each and every boss, pick up one of these games. You'll regret it and love it at the same time. But what do you guys think? Is this series too hard for the average player and that takes away from the fun, or does the joy you get from beating a hard area add to the fun? Why don't you let me know on Twitter at ZTVGoofingOff and make sure to use that hashtag RetroRewind. And I'll see you guys on the Rewind.